Hi everyone, this is Colleen from Let's Talk About It. Today I want to talk a little bit about chronic conditions and teaching. Sounds weird, but what I learned yesterday, well, I've learned before, but I learned yesterday, is that how we maneuver and navigate this world while we're dealing with chronic conditions serves as a model to the people in your life as to how they might learn to deal with their own stuff when it comes up. So again, as you know, I come to you from a patient's perspective. I was in a car accident 2 years ago, and I have occipital neuralgia and post-concussion syndrome and occipital neuralgia, vestibular migraine. I think I said that twice, I'm not sure. Anyway, my daughter's 21, she's in college, and she's dealing with some pretty significant health issues herself right now. She'll be fine, but it's pretty significant. And she called me last night crying, and she said, "How do you do it?" And I said, how do I do what? And she said, how do you do life in pain all the time? How do you do that? And I'm going to encourage all of you to do what I did, and that is to just be freaking real. Your kids watch everything you do. You know, when they're little, they imitate you, and they learn how to use tools, and they learn how to vacuum, and they learn how to pour their own milk. That's industrious. That's what they should be doing when they're younger. But the whole time that they're in your presence and they're growing, they're watching how you handle things and what your coping skills are, and they will either learn them, imitate them, hopefully, and apply them in their own life. So because of that, some of us might want to hide our suffering. We might want to hide when we're feeling down. We might not want to show when we're struggling. I'm going to encourage you to do the opposite. Yes, sometimes when we're out and about, if you're trying to work and do a job, you are literally sucking it up, dealing with pain, maybe trying to function through some kind of crazy medication, but you're just trying to get through the day, and we all know by the time you get home, you're just crashing, you're taking meds, you're sleeping, whatever you need to do to function, because you're in your home, right? You're in your safe place, and you can let yourself down and be real, right? But I'm going to encourage you to be real with your kids, because I've been through a lot of medical stuff. Several years ago, I had a back fusion that went a little sideways. By mistake, they cut my ureter in half. So I spent almost 7 weeks in the hospital, came home, signed myself out. I came home with a drain, a bag, the whole thing. It was a mess. I couldn't walk for months. Anyway, my kids saw me cry sometimes. There were times that I had to ask them for help, which is good. They should help you, and they need to learn what it is to care for someone else, right? So you're teaching them that, you know, to a little self-sacrifice and giving of your time and getting somebody a drink of water or cooking for them or going shopping for them without complaining because the person is literally relying on you. These are lessons that your kids need to learn so that when they're in their own relationship or have children or even with good friends, they know what it looks like to take care of somebody, right? But the same is true if they're suffering. You know, I have to constantly remind myself that I've been through over 20 surgeries. Like, I can't even tell, like, so many procedures, it's not even funny. So for me to go into a hospital, to get an IV, to go into an operating room, deal with the anesthesia, recovery, I'm not saying it's easy, but I can wrap my brain around it because I already know what to expect. Where I have to remember that somebody like my daughter, when she goes to get her things dealt with, she's never stayed overnight in a hospital. She's never really been under general anesthesia. She's never had a surgery. She's never had a long, recovery period, and having to manage pain. So I want to be really sensitive to that. And then I also want her to know what I said last night is, like, honestly, sometimes I cry. Sometimes I'm in pain, or I can't go out, or I had to leave somewhere, or my head hurts really bad, or I'm just fatigued or really tired or overwhelmed, angry, all the things, right? And I told her, I said, honey, sometimes I just cry. And if I can't cry, because I feel like I want to, kill somebody, I feel like I'm so stressed out, sometimes I'll put a sad movie on. I'll put Les Miserables on, or Philadelphia, or Beaches, or something, because I know that'll make me cry. Because you need to get that energy out of you. I talked to her about self-care, use ice if you have to, use a heating pad if you have to, go get over-the-counter medications, ask your your roommates to help you with cleanup if you need to. Call your professors. Maybe you can't go to class tonight, or maybe you can't go to class tomorrow. Maybe you need an extension on a paper. So, I really had to talk to her a lot about like self-care, especially because mom's not there, right? I can't take care of my daughter because she's in college. But we have to normalize suffering and pain and model good coping skills for our families so that they can see that mom's been through this horrible thing. I don't want them to think like, oh, mom's handling it so well and it never bothers her and everything's fine. No. I told her the other day, I said, listen, right after Thanksgiving dinner, I was at my brother's house. I had to go lie down for almost an hour. It's something I don't want to do, but back in the day I would say, oh, don't do that, suck it up, figure it out, No, not anymore, because I know what it'll do to me. Now I tell my sister-in-law, or I ask my nephew, hey, can I go lay down on your bed for a little while? I'm not feeling well. And if I'm going to have any kind of holiday, I'm going to need to rest. I need to take myself out of a loud environment. I was with my college friends this past summer, and it was the same thing. There were a whole bunch of us in the house, and probably 4 times at least a day, I went upstairs to the big bedroom and I lie down and covered my ears and just had silence because I needed to take care of myself. So the lesson of the day is be real with yourself, be real with your kids. You do not have to be Superman. You do not have to be Superwoman. You have to be real, right? I do talk to my kids like, sometimes if I get angry and I take it out on somebody, that's my cue. Then I need to go lie down, or I need to go meditate, or I need to take medication, or whatever. I need to check out. So I ask them, like, recognize where you feel the pain, or is it not pain? Can you number it 1 to 10? And then can you name 3 things you can do to help yourself feel better? So I encourage all of you to do the same. And I just want to thank you, because while you have this chronic condition that you're dealing with, you are qualified now to help others navigate life when they have a medical condition that proves to be difficult for them. So thank you for being there for those people because of what you yourself have suffered from. All right, have a good day, everybody.